Hey guys, this is Mike, the Detroit Borg, with yet another Kindle unboxing. This time we're taking a look at the Kindle Touch, which is the last in the series of Kindle reviews I've been waiting to do. There were three major products launched back in October. The Kindle Basic, which I've done a review on, and this is not a touch-based Kindle. This is just a Kindle without a keyboard with some very basic controls. And of course we did the Kindle Fire just yesterday. So now it's the Touch's turn. And these are just arriving in customers' hands today. Now, just like every other Kindle before it, this has that frustration-free packaging, so all you have to do is peel this open. And as you can see, it's very discreet, so when it shows up at your doorstep, you know exactly what you're getting. You just flip that open. There is our Kindle. And up here in the lid is the little literature. Hopefully it's not stuck like it was with the Kindle Fire, and yes, it's free. So anyway, this is just basic instructions on how to use your Kindle. There's a charging port, there's a headphone jack, and there's the power button. And of course we have a home button. So that's basically all there is to it, and on the back we have some basic legal information. Now getting to the Kindle itself, you can see it's sitting in this cradle wrapped in plastic. So we're going to set this aside really quick so we can take a look to see what's underneath. So we have a little Kindle wrapper around this USB charging cable. So this is a micro USB cable, and that's all there is to it. It's nice eco-friendly packaging, so it's very recyclable or disposable or biodegradable, whatever you decide to do. Now let's get to the Kindle Touch. We just need to lift up the plastic. There's the plastic on the front, nothing on the back. Alright, so let's take a close look around the device. Now you can see that this is a touch-based Kindle, so you'll notice this ridge around the screen. Now the ridge is actually there because it uses infrared to determine the position of your finger on the screen. Now the screen is also multi-touch, so this is capable of determining more than one finger position at a time. Down at the bottom we have this home button, which looks like a series of buttons, but really it's just one button behind the bezel. So if you just press the edge of it, you can see the whole button moves. Now taking a look at the back, we can see we have this big plate back here. Looks like it's removable, but it's not. It's got a nice curved design to it. It has a very nice matte texture. Of course we have the Kindle logo. No indication if it's Kindle or Kindle Touch. They just call it Kindle. And down here we have some battery contact points. So this allows cases to tap into the internal battery of the Kindle to power light sources. So Amazon actually sells a case which I have on order, so hopefully I'll be able to give you a review of that. We also have some speaker grills down here, so this does have internal speakers. Now on the bottom we have our micro USB charging port, as well as a microphone next to that, as well as the 3.5mm headphone jack, an LED indicator, and the power button. Now the first thing it wants me to do is connect my Kindle and charge it, but I don't need to do that because it does have some charge already. So we're going to skip ahead and just power it on. We're going to press and hold the power button. Alright, so we're booted up, and I can see I have quite a bit of battery left according to this indicator, so we can proceed. Now basically all it's telling me is that there are easy reach tap zones that let you turn pages with either hand. Now that's because there are no physical page turn buttons on this Kindle. Everything is operated on the touch screen. So if you want to turn the page, you have to be aware that these regions are meant for turning pages. It looks like a majority of the screen is dedicated to turning to the next page, and a small side of the Kindle is dedicated to turning to the previous page. Now the top of the screen is dedicated to the menu bar, so if you tap anywhere up here, brings up your menu bar. Now it's just giving us basic user information. So for example, if you want to bring up a book, you just tap it, and if you want to bring up options, you tap and hold. So let's go next. And of course we have our home button, which we're familiar with. And now it's giving us the user guide, and it's letting us know that if you've purchased your Kindle online, which I did, it's already registered to your Amazon account. So all you have to do is press the home button. Now that I'm on my home screen, it wants me to look in the upper left corner to see if my name is there, and it's not. Well, that makes sense, because even if my Kindle was registered, it's not logged into my Wi-Fi account, and it didn't prompt me to log into my Wi-Fi account, so that's a little strange. So we're going to do this manually. We're going to go to Menu, and we're going to go to Settings. We're going to go to Wi-Fi Networks, Time Capsule, that's my local router. And we're going to click, come on, And now we're just going to enter our password, and of course we have a touch keyboard. So now I can see I'm connected to Wi-Fi, and now it's checking my registration status. And there we go. Now before I go any farther, let's just talk about why I'm seeing ads on my home screen. And that's because this is the version that is supported with ads. So it's partially subsidized with ads that appear on your home screen and appear on your screensaver. So in fact, if I turn it off, you see we do get some ads. So let's go back on. Now this means that this Kindle Touch costs $99, but if you want the version without the ads, it's $139. You can also get the Kindle Touch in 3G, and 3G starts off at $189, but if you want the one with the special offers, that brings you down to $149. So now that we're at our home screen, everything is pretty familiar. This looks exactly like all the Kindles before it, but of course this is touch-based, so there are some changes there. First up, let's go to my library. So we're going to go to our archived items, and these are books in my library that I have not downloaded yet. So let's go to the Steve Jobs bio. So now if I press the home button, it brings me back to the home screen. I can see Steve Jobs, so let's just tap that. Now if you want to turn to the next page, all you have to do is touch in this area. There you go. If you want to go back, touch that area. Takes you back. Now if you want to go to the menu, just tap up here, brings you right to the menu, and this gives you some of our options. So we have our fonts and font sizes. So here we can change our size, and so if we go all the way up to the highest setting, you can see it's pretty large. You can also change our spacing. So from small, medium to large, let's go to medium. And we can do words per line, so fewest, fewer, and default. Let's see what fewer looks like. I see it basically shrinks the margin, so let's go to default. We can also change our typeface to regular, condensed, and sans serif. And if you want to get away from the menu, all you have to do is tap somewhere on the page. Now another option you have is to go to. This will allow you to select a page you want to navigate to. So it looks like you have some shortcuts here. You can do cover, beginning, table of contents, end, or page or location. So here we can choose a page number or location. Location is Amazon's proprietary way of indexing pages. So we're just going to do page 234 page. This is page 234, and you can see the location number here is 4182. Now, another neat feature with the Kindle Touch is X-Ray. So if we bring up the menu, we can go right to X-Ray. Now this basically indexes the entire book according to major characters, terms, and locations. So you can see on this page, which right now is page 150 to 151, we have mentions of John Scully, Steve Jobs, Regis McKenna, Pepsi, Pepsi Challenge, Greenwich, Connecticut. And if you want to go to the chapter we're in, this will list all of them, and of course you can scroll down through them. And if we want to go to the entire book, we can see all terms and characters mentioned. And you can see they've indexed 546 items and 240 people and 306 terms. So if you just want to look at the people, you can just tap people. You can see Steve Jobs, of course, and you see the timeline. So this is an indication of exactly where in the book Steve Jobs appears, and of course he appears the most. So let's go to John Scully, take a look at some of his passages. Now when you bring up John Scully, you see a brief snippet of the text where he appears, and if we scroll through, you can see more snippets of text, and we can keep scrolling through. And as we do so, you can actually look at the timeline. And the timeline will indicate exactly where you are when you're scrolling through those items. So looks like on page 150, if we tap that, it brings us right to page 150 where that segment of text appears. So that is X-Ray, and I think it's definitely one of the killer features for the Kindle Touch. Now because the Kindle Touch supports multi-touch, you can actually pinch to zoom on the text to change the font. So if we just zoom out a bit, it jumps to the next font size. If we pinch in, jumps to the lower one, and you can keep doing that. Until you're happy. Now, just like the other Kindles, we also have a dictionary. So if let's tap on corporate and hold, we get some options here. So we can show full definition, or it gives you automatically a brief definition. You can share using Twitter or Facebook. You can add a note, or you can do a highlight. Now, if we go back to our home screen and we go to My Clippings, those highlights and notes will actually appear. So you can see the text, the location, and all that information, as well as the note I left. On the top of the home screen, we have a back button, the Amazon Store, Search, and Menu. Now, if we go to the Amazon Store, basically launches the Amazon Kindle Store. And this allows you to search and navigate for certain types of material. So we have books, newspapers, magazines, and let's go back. Audible, so audiobooks, Kindle singles, blogs, and looks like some newspapers, recommended titles. So if we go to books, we can search by category, and you can tap on them. Now here we can see the price. So this book costs $12.99 if we want to purchase it. And we can try a sample, or we can add this to our wish list. But if we want to know more, all you have to do is scroll through the page and read the reviews. Now if we tap in the search bar, you'll see we get a drop-down menu appear. So if we tap that, it brings up a list of items, or a list of categories that we can search. So we can search by My Items, Kindle Store, Wikipedia, or Dictionary. Now to get to the web browser, you have to go to Menu on the home screen, and you have to go to Experimental. Under Experimental, you have 3 items. So you have a web browser, an MP3 player, and text-to-speech. Now the web browser we'll take a look at first. Now I've already been playing with this, and it's loading from where I last left off, which is the Apple page. But if I want to go to a different website, just tap on the address bar, and you can type it in. So let's just type in cnn.com. Go. So it's loading the full version of CNN. It's not loading the mobile version, but because this is a multi-touch display, we can pinch to zoom in, which is a bit slow. It's kind of hard to control when it's that slow, but let's pinch out. So you have to be pretty patient, and you can use your finger to scroll around. So as you can see, there are some limits to how you can use a web browser on an e-ink screen. Of course, the refresh rate certainly isn't the quickest thing around. And we also have an MP3 player, which plays only MP3 files. No other file types are supported. So if we launch that, brings us right to our media control panel. Now it's important to note that in order to load MP3 files onto the Kindle, you'll have to connect this using the USB cable provided, connect it to your Mac or PC, and basically drag and drop your MP3s to a file on the Kindle called, or a folder on the Kindle called Music. Now the music panel is very simple. We have the title of the track along with skip back and skip forward. And we also have play, and we have a volume control. So let's play. Turn up.
You love. From people you trust.
And of course, there is no way to scrub this, but if you hold the forward key down, it won't do anything. So that's all. That's just for skipping. So again, let's hold that. Nothing happens. So you have very limited control. Now what's great about this is that you can listen to music in the background. So we go back to our home screen, bring up Steve Jobs, and we can read while listening to audio. Now, if you want to get back to those controls, just tap the upper part of the screen to get to the menu, and you can see your media widget down here. So again, you control your volume, or click pause, or just turn it off. And of course, you have text-to-speech, which only works with authorized books, so not all books authorize this feature. Basically, it's an electronic voice that reads the text of a book back to you, and of course it'll play through the speakers or through the headphone jack. So there we go. We have the entire Kindle family, from the cheapest Kindle to the Kindle Touch to the Kindle with the keyboard to the Kindle Fire. Now, if we compare the basic Kindle to the Kindle Touch, the big difference you can see is that the Kindle Touch is actually a little bit bigger. So if we lay the cheapest Kindle over the Kindle Touch, you can see it's a little bigger dimensionally. It's also a little thicker. The Kindle Touch does have a larger battery, so it has a longer standby time. The other thing is, of course, you can see that because the cheapest Kindle does not have a touch screen, it has a smaller bezel than the Kindle Touch, which is not a big deal. I don't think it makes a big difference either way. Now, because the basic Kindle has no touch controls, it does have physical page turn buttons, which may be a big plus to some people who do not like turning pages with a touch screen. Comparing the two devices, you can see the Kindle Touch has stereo speakers along with these battery connectors, as does the basic Kindle. Of course, we have a power button. The Kindle Touch has a headphone jack, an LED light, and a microphone along with a USB connector, while the basic Kindle only has an LED light and a USB connector. Now, overall, I'm a little disappointed with the Kindle Touch, and that's thanks largely to the touch screen. It's not very sensitive, it's not very accurate, and most important, it's not very fast. So every time you touch the display, you're not sure if it just didn't work or you're waiting for it to respond or refresh the page. So that experience is kind of negative. But overall, it's still a good value, and it's still the one I would recommend between these three devices, at least in terms of e-ink displays. The Kindle Fire is a whole different category. I definitely don't recommend this for reading, because reading on an LCD screen it's a lot more eye straining. I definitely don't recommend it. But among these three devices, I think the Touch is the best bet. I have faith that they will fix the performance issues with software, and the screen will get a lot faster. But it's only $100. It's only slightly more than the basic Kindle. This starts at $79. This starts at $100. And I think Touch is a much better interface than using this D-pad on the basic Kindle, even though this is slow. You just have to be patient with this, and you also have to be patient with that as well. So the trade-off is it's not the best touch e-ink display I've ever used, but it's the best Kindle you can buy. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.